Welcome to What Helps Us Heal with Erin Myers. I'm Erin. For over 20 years, I've taught Pilates and am a balanced body Pilates educator, international presenter on scoliosis, and founder of Spiral Spine Pilates in Nashville, Tennessee. I've written multiple books on scoliosis, but my deepest learning came through navigating chronic and complex health challenges, both in my own body and in my family's bodies as well. This show shares what helps us heal, practical tools, hopeful conversations, and the reminder that a diagnosis does not define you. This is your invitation. Come along for the journey. Everything discussed here is meant to educate and inspire, not replace medical care. Please consult your doctor or other qualified health professionals for guidance specific to you. Today, I am going to be busting myths about scoliosis. In my 2 decades of working with people who have scoliosis all over the world, I have heard some of the craziest things come out of people's mouths as fact. And it is the farthest thing from fact. And the interesting thing is when these incorrect truths come out of someone's mouth about scoliosis, it usually ends up being hurtful and harmful to the scoliosis community. So in my latest book, I Have Scoliosis, Now What? We're going to go through chapter 2, which is myth busting. So let's get to it. Myth number 1, everyone has scoliosis. Heavens, that is the farthest thing from the truth. One of my biggest pet peeves is when a practitioner of any kind says, it's okay, everyone has a little bit of scoliosis. Everyone's spine is just a little bit twisted. Okay, that is a very harmful thing to tell someone because no, my friends, not everyone has scoliosis. Some people have a little bit of muscular discrepancy, right versus left. Might they be a little bit more right hand dominant than left? So biomechanically, they're a little bit more uneven. Yes. But to say that everyone has scoliosis absolutely discredits what people go through when they live with scoliosis. So scoliosis is defined as a sideways curvature of the spine of 10 degrees or more. So no, not everyone's spine is bent sideways 10 degrees or more. So let's just get the facts straight here, okay? It is estimated that roughly 1 to 5% of the population develops scoliosis between the ages of 11 and 18. Friends, that is so much. That number increases to roughly 8% for people over the age of 25 due to degenerative spinal changes. That number increases somewhere from 15 to 30% at about the age of 65. Different studies came up with different numbers depending on the population being studied. Interestingly, prevalence differs from country to country. So when I really wanted to figure out, like I would hear people talk about different percentages of the population having scoliosis. So I dug pretty deep into this and I started going down rabbit trails of getting real research. Like even the Scoliosis Research Foundation, I even emailed them, like they quoted a certain percentage online. I emailed them. They didn't even respond back. I'm like, you don't cite your research. You don't cite your percentage of how much of the population has scoliosis. Crickets. No comment. So that made me just more pissed off and I started researching further. So it's actually really interesting information. Different countries have different percentages of prevalence of scoliosis, which makes my brain go down so many different rabbit holes. And as you age, we get more kind of diagnoses in the spine, more traumas, more degeneration in the spine, and hence scoliosis, the prevalence of scoliosis increases. When they're younger, it's more about idiopathic scoliosis, and idiopathic is just a horrible name for I don't know why you ended up with this pathology of a sideways curve of the spine, idiopathic scoliosis of 10 degrees or more. And usually at a young age, it is a nutritional situation. But then as we age, we add in new factors. Myth number 2, you can't live a successful life with scoliosis. Okay, I have a list of quite famous people that you are going to recognize. All of these people have scoliosis. Actresses: Georgie Parker, Laura Dern, Liza Minnelli, Naomi Harris, Renee Russo, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Shailene Woodley, Vanessa Williams. One of my favorite people that has scoliosis is a ballerina that was with the New York City Ballet was a principal dancer with them, the longest running principal dancer in the history of the New York City Ballet, and that was Wendy Whelan. She has a fabulous documentary. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, and I watched it a handful of years ago, and at the very end, they talk about her scoliosis, and it was awesome. You get to see her x-rays, and I mean, girl, they are there. She has scoliosis, and she is one of the most stunning ballet dancers that has ever existed on the face of this earth. Billiards legend Jeanette Lee. Cellist Yo-Yo Ma. Bet you didn't see that one coming. And he has had spinal fusion surgery. Cyclist and Tour de France winner Egan Bernal. Fashion models, of which there is a huge list, which is an interesting thing to think about nutritionally. Fashion models: Emma Arruda, Delilah Bell Hamlin, Joan Smalls, Martha Hunt, Natalie Rosser. Olympians. This one is awesome. Grace Prendergast, rowing. James Blake, tennis. Jessica Ashwood, swimming. Kyra Condi, climbing. She is a current athlete. She has had a spinal fusion, and she is a beast of a rock climber. And it is fascinating to watch her and her strength. Natalie Coughlin, swimming. Usain Bolt, sprinting. Usain still holds the Olympic record for the fastest man in the world, and that was a long time ago, and he has a leg length discrepancy, and that is where his scoliosis came from, 3/4 of a leg length discrepancy, and I went way deep down a rabbit hole studying him and what his trainers did, reading books on him. So he is a super fascinating specimen to look at in the scoliosis realm. And I'm just going to go ahead and say, these people's scoliosis did not stop them from winning Olympic medals or from going to the Olympics. And then royalty: Princess Eugenia of York, British royalty. So while I understand that success is not always deemed by winning an Olympic medal or being British royalty, a lot of people that have scoliosis feel like they're all alone. And there's a lot of people out there that don't claim scoliosis. They don't, hang their hat on the scoliosis peg. They don't, wear a green ribbon for having scoliosis. They just have it, and they just figure out how to live with it and just keep doing their jam. I wrote the book, I Have Scoliosis. Now what? Because after more than 20 years of studying scoliosis research, working with scoli clients around the world, and living with scoliosis myself, I kept hearing the same question. I've been diagnosed with scoliosis. Now what do I do? Most people diagnosed with scoli are told what their curve is, but not why it developed or what they can actually do about it. This book brings together decades of medical research with what I've learned working with real people's bodies to help you better understand your diagnosis. In the book, I explore factors that influence scoliosis and curve progression, and how things like movement, muscle balance, and nutrition can help support your spine. I also walk through treatment options, from movement therapies and bracing to surgical considerations, so you can make informed decisions about your body. Whether you're a parent of a newly diagnosed child, a teenager navigating scoliosis, or an adult living with it, my goal is to give you the knowledge, tools, and confidence to better understand your spine, take charge of your diagnosis, and advocate for your health. You can purchase I Have Scoliosis, Now What? On Amazon in paperback and Kindle formats. Do you have scoliosis and want to better understand your body? Have you felt alone navigating life with scoliosis? Join me for Spiral Spine's Scoliosis Retreat, a 2-day immersive workshop where my Spiral Spine team and I teach research-backed ways to align, strengthen, and release your body. You'll learn how to better understand your unique scoliosis and leave with practical tools you can continue using at home with confidence. You'll also meet people from all over the world that have scoliosis. Everyone is welcome, whether you've been newly diagnosed or have been living with it for decades, have had surgery, are a teenager, or are 80 years old. For more than 20 years, I've worked with people living with scoliosis, and this retreat brings together the same strategies used every day in studio and virtually with Spiral Spine Scoli clients. You are not alone, and there is always more that can be done to improve the quality of your life. Learn more at spiralspine.com. Myth number 3, people with larger scoliosis curves have more pain than those with smaller curves. This has been a fascinating thing that has befuddled me for years. So, I have found that people with smaller cod angles actually usually have a higher degree of pain than people with larger curves. Now, I have theories on this, but without going too deep down my path here, the reason I bring this myth up is because I don't want you to feel discredited if you have like a 13-degree scoliotic curve and people discredit you as being like, you shouldn't have pain. Well, but you do, and it's okay. And I've seen this all over the world. And whether it's just like the body is just learning to compensate for the first time and muscles are really angry when it's a smaller curve versus it's a larger curve. And the muscles in the body has learned to adapt over time to this big shift in the body. I'm not really sure. I think the nervous system and its awareness of how it perceives the body, its proprioceptive systems, that could be a piece of why pain is the case. But I've had so many people who have minor curves, as the diagnostic world would say, that have scoliosis, and they're in like a lot of pain. And it's been interesting to observe. So without going too deep, I simply want to tell you that if you have a smaller curve and it's not very much, but you feel a fair amount of pain, it's real, acknowledge it, and go seek some help out. Myth number 4, scoliosis stops progressing after the teen years. Absolutely. This is false. I was told this as a teenager. And then after I gave birth to my sons, my curves doubled. I have seen this time and time and time again. Once scoliosis is in the body, anytime you have big changes in the body, so for a female, it's going to be giving birth, hormone changes in that realm, and then menopause, those are going to be big changes, and we oftentimes see big changes in curvature then. It doesn't mean it has to stay there if you are proactive on it, but nonetheless, if you have been told that you have scoliosis and it will never progress after teenage years, so you don't need to do anything about it, sorry, my friends, that's false. Myth number 5, having routine x-ray checkups for your scoliosis is safe during your teenage years. False. So we know that an x-ray puts radiation into the body. So if you need x-rays, there are x-ray machines that have less radiation, and I need you to check up on that if you want to do this for your child, or if your child is in the teenage years, or if you're an adult and you just want to check in on your scoli regularly. I'm not a big advocate of it, because I really would say you need to ask yourself why you're getting these x-rays. The only thing that I would say is, are we to a point that it's going to, the result of this x-ray, is it going to change or alter your plan of attack on how you're going to deal with your scoliosis? If it is, then I'd say yes. I have had multiple children at my studio at Spiral Spine Pilates that their ortho wanted an x-ray on them every 6 months. And they were diagnosed at age 9. And then at the age 18, the doctor was like, okay, I don't need any more. Never got a brace, never got surgery. So do the calculations here real quick, my friends. If they have had full torso x-rays every 6 months from age 9 to age 18, my friends, that is a lot of radiation in the torso. I came across some interesting research over the years that some people with scoliosis have a higher prevalence of getting cancer and leukemia. And I don't know, I have, like, in this book, I have 4 different research articles where that is cited. And I don't know if it's all correlated or if there were other reasons that this population group ended up in having higher cancer and leukemia uh, diagnoses, if it is from the x-rays or if it's from some other stuff, like they're crappy detoxers, they have a hard time getting stuff out of their body and then it accumulated. I don't know. I am just saying, I see the research. I see that people with scoli have a higher chance of getting breast cancer and leukemia, at least from this research. And I also know that getting constant radiation in your torso is not healthy. I've had some adults who are like, I just want to check in on my scoliosis. And I'm like, I check out on your scoliosis every time you have a lesson with a scoliometer reading. And I have years of data on your scoliosis before and after a lesson. I can tell you if it's getting worse. I can tell you if it's getting better. I'm like, and I always grill my patients or my clients. And I'm like, why are you going to go get another x-ray? Why are you voluntarily getting more radiation put in your torso? They're like, I just want to see. And I'm like, well, I just want you to think real quick. Is that a good choice just to see? Like, if you get this, are you going to go get surgery? They're like, well, of course not. I'm like, then why are you getting more radiation put in your torso? So friends, I just want you to think about this. Why am I getting another x-ray? What I see on that x-ray, is it going to alter my plan of attack on how I'm going to deal with scoliosis? If the answer is yes, by all means, like if you're going in for surgery, yeah, you better be getting an x-ray because and probably a CT scan and probably an MRI, like we need to get more data. But no, it is a myth that constantly getting an opious amount of x-rays is safe for your body if you have scoliosis. Myth number 6, you shouldn't get pregnant if you have scoliosis. This was a wild myth to me because I have never been told this for my own body. And I've given birth to 2 super healthy boys. But I have been shocked over the past 2 decades how many women had confided in me around the world that their doctors told them that they should never give birth and they should never procreate. I was floored and like deeply distressed at the medical community that these women were told this. I've been years ago, I put out on social media, I just wanted to ask if people had been told this. I was floored, my friends, at the terribly sad stories of women being told that they should not have children. And I don't know where these doctors got this information. Sadly, many of these women listened and they did not have families because these doctors told them that. My heart just like crumbled when I heard that. But I have so many beautiful success stories of women giving birth and having it be so successful and having beautiful children and healthy children. So my friends, it is an absolute myth and a lie that if you have scoliosis, you should not procreate. Myth number 7, spinal fusion surgery cures scoliosis. Again, I don't know where this lie came about. Now hear me out. I'm not against surgery. I'm against rash emotional decisions that have not been thought out and researched. I've seen too many of those and too much harm done in the scoliosis community. That being said, is there a time and a place for surgery? Yes. Yes, there is. Are all surgeries created equally? No, they are not. Are all surgeons created equally? Oh, heavens. No, they are not, my friends. But if you get surgery of ASC, VBT, spinal fusion, posterior spinal fusion, whatever it is, whatever form of surgery that you get, it does not cure your scoliosis. You still have it, friends. And if your scoli stemmed from, a diagnosis of adolescent idiopathic scoliosis or juvenile idiopathic scoliosis, where the root of it is probably a little bit of genetic SNPs and a little bit of nutritional issues. Friends, if you get a surgery, you still have those nutritional issues. So that stuff needs to get handled. Am I saying surgery is bad? No. Am I saying scoliosis is cured by scoliosis? No, it is not. Scoliosis does not cure scoliosis. Surgery does not cure scoliosis. Can it help in certain situations? Yes. Do the roots of the scoliosis need to be figured out and addressed? Yes. I've noticed people have so much fear about if their scoliosis is progressing and what actually helps and hurts their scoli. Did you know that there's a simple way that you and your scoli practitioners can monitor your scoli from your phone? I created the Scoliometer by Spiral Spine app to help practitioners and families track scoli trunk rotation measurements directly from their phone, which transforms your phone into a clinically inspired screening tool. There's an actual medical device called a scoliometer, and I own one. I have misplaced it so many times and have lost it. So I had no power to track my clients' backs. So I decided to have someone make an app so I'd always have the ability to track my client's scoliosis from my phone. The app measures axial vertebral rotation. Think the rotation in your back, which research has shown is positively correlated to one's Cobb angle. Think the measurement from your x-ray. People always want a lower number on their scoli x-ray, but getting continual x-rays is not healthy due to radiation. You can get a pulse on what's happening in your x-ray simply by knowing your scoliometer number. If you did a corrective Pilates session and got your scoliometer number down to 4 degrees, your x-ray number just dropped as well. We can tell what helps and hurts a client's back, which then empowers clients to help themselves and make better decisions in their everyday life, which therefore helps their scoli health long term. Download the Scoliometer by Spiral Spine app today, available for all phones. Check the links in the show notes. Are you ready to start proactively caring for your scoliosis, but you're not sure where to start? No problem. Spiral Spine's Scoli Care Package, which consists of 3 private sessions and 2 filmed, personalized 25-minute workout videos made by your instructor based on your lessons, give you personalized guidance and tools that you can keep using long after your sessions end. The private sessions can be taken at Spiral Spine Pilates in Nashville, Tennessee, or virtually anywhere from around the world. It's a supportive starting point if you're navigating scoliosis and want to better understand what can help your body move and feel better. Read more and sign up on spiralspine.com. All right, my friends. Myth number 8, spinal fusion surgery is the only option for people with scoliosis. Well, if you know me well enough, and if you've listened to any of these episodes on this podcast or followed me on social media on Spiral Spine Pilates, oh heavens, no, my friends. Surgery is not the only thing that you can do for scoliosis. There's movement, there's massage, the list is so long. There's good bracing. So as we all know, I am a huge advocate for movement, as that is what I am. I am a Pilates instructor and specialize in working with people with scoliosis, but I have been floored at people who have been like, well, my doctor told me that the only way that I can help my scoliosis is a fusion. And I just kind of stand there like a deer in headlights, like unable to speak. And I'm like, is this like 40 years ago? Like, am I in a time warp here? I'm like, what's happening? So no, my friends, listen to some other episodes. You'll get the scoop on movement and massage and all the things that can help your body. But no, that is an absolute myth. Okay. Myth number 9, there is nothing to do about chronic pain I have for my scoliosis except take painkillers. Oh, no, my friends. Actually, the last thing I want you to do is take painkillers, because then your pain is going to be numbed, and then you're going to do some really dumb stuff with your scoli, and you're going to end up in more pain once those painkillers wear off. I have seen too many people in the scoli world being given painkillers, and it is never a good choice. If you are in extreme pain, I am okay with um, with different regenerative medicine forms of injections into the spine and stuff to calm things down. I'm a big fan of acupuncture if you get into that point. I'm a huge fan of massage when we get into really spasmic situations. On occasion, I have been an advocate of a very few clients actually getting Botox in a few overactive muscles. Very rarely, this is a whole episode that I need to do on this, because I've seen some horrible situations with people experimenting with Botox and scoliosis, and I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. So please don't do it without consulting someone at Spiral Spine who's seen really horrible things happen there. But if you're in a lot of pain and some muscles do need to get atrophied, that is an option, but please, no, no. The goal with all of that is to calm a muscle down so that other muscles can learn to fire, so that when that injection wears off, that things are more balanced and the pain is gone. If you are doped up on pain meds, you're not doing anything except feeling high. And you're numb to the world. You're not doing exercises. You're not proactively doing anything for your scoliosis. So, no, I'm not an advocate for pain meds for scoli, unless it's like a Tylenol or an Advil every once in a while, to just kind of help you get through the day. There's a lot of other tools out there, my friends. Myth number 10. Exercise does not decrease scoliosis. More than once, well, this is false. All of these are false. All these myths are false. More than once, I have had people come into the studio or have consulted me online in a lesson, and they say, well, my doctor said that there's an exercise cannot help scoli. So who's true? Who's speaking the truth? You or them? Because only one can be true. I'm like, ooh, that was a hot and heavy way to say that. Not only has exercise been shown clinically in research to increase one's quality of life while living with scoliosis, specific exercises have also been known to decrease curvature. There have, oh my gosh, this is what my whole world lives around. This is my staff and I work with this every day. It's all backed in research, my friends. There is so much that you can do movement wise to help your scoliosis. Over 7 million people in the United States are living with scoliosis, and over 150 million worldwide. Yet most movement professionals receive very little training on how to work with it. After training practitioners around the world for almost 2 decades, I created the Scoliosis Movement Specialist Certificate to cut through the confusion and give you clear, practical tools to support clients living with scoliosis. This program is designed for Pilates instructors, physical therapists, occupational therapists, yoga teachers, personal trainers, and other movement professionals who want to confidently work with clients living with scoliosis. The certificate program includes 3 online modules and a 4th live hybrid module that can be taken at Spiral Spine Pilates in Nashville, Tennessee, or online anywhere around the world, where we bring the learning into practice together. Each module includes hours of expert instruction, scoliosis medical research, and downloadable handouts with references from my books, I Have Scoliosis, Now What? And Analyzing Scoliosis. Become a scoliosis movement specialist today and start confidently changing lives of people living with scoliosis. Once you finish the certificate program, you'll have the privilege of having your information placed on Spiral Spine's website, where those living with scoliosis worldwide come to get scoliosis care. To learn more and sign up, visit spiralspine.com. So, to finish up this episode, I want to go to how I opened up the book in I Have Scoliosis, Now What? And my opening chapter was called Scoliosis Orphan. And I think when we talk about the concept of myths, I think we need to talk about the big elephant in the room. And that is that people with scoliosis are not receiving appropriate care around the world. And there is not enough knowledge about scoliosis, real knowledge, not made up stuff, not something that someone invented that is not backed in medical research. All of this has led to the situation of all of these myths, people thinking that they're true. This is all incorrect. So I am going to read you an email that I received a few years ago. And this is what it says. Erin, it's 2 a.m. and I just couldn't stop reading all your comments on one of the blog posts I did a long time ago. My precious daughter was diagnosed with scoliosis a year ago. She is almost 14. She has an S-curve, and I just have to believe that she can be helped with proper exercise and strengthening of muscles. I was not impressed with the specialist we saw at all. He gave us no information or encouragement, just wanted another 6-month follow-up. I have received emails like this weekly for years, to the extent that I now have a crew of admin staff that help me sift through all these because it's too much for me to handle single-handedly. All this mother wanted was someone to talk to listen to her, to tell her that her daughter is precious and worthy of someone's time to help. She wanted guidance because she desperately desired to help her daughter. She wanted to know what practitioners she should seek out, what exercises her daughter should be doing at home daily, and if daily activities needed to be altered to stop the progression of her daughter's scoliosis. Instead, she received nothing from her doctor. No guidance, no inspiration, no emotional support, no proactive physical help, and absolutely nothing based in current medical research. She felt like an orphan. My perspective on how to live a full life with scoliosis is usually very different from that of most doctors. I am not going to promise you a magic pill, a pain-free life, or a straight spine. You are too important for me to give you empty promises like that. I do not have a prophetic magic ball to see your future, but I can give you the next best step to take for your scoliosis, as I have for people over the last 2 decades all over the world. Instead, you need to be empowered with knowledge about your body, movements that will help it and calm your pain, emotional support and guidance, and a toolbox full of proactive tools you can use during different stages of your life to care for yourself. There must be a scoli revolution in the world. If the way in which the medical world currently cared for those with scoliosis was working, there would not be millions of scoliosis orphans around the world. Those with scoli and their loved ones wouldn't feel so alone and abandoned. There are millions of scoli orphans around the world, my friends. I've met with many of them all over the world. A new way to look at scoli must arise, one in which the power is placed in your hands, you who have scoliosis, where you are taught the tools you need to live in physical and mental freedom from your scoliosis. And I think living with scoliosis myself and not wanting to go to my kids and working with clients all over the world that have scoliosis has really shaped me. And I get angry when people break down on their first lesson working with me because of myths, because of falsehoods, because of lies that they've been told from practitioners or doctors or, movement practitioners, and they're all lies. And my friends, it's all research is out there. I started creating the scoliosis movements specialist certificate program a few years ago, and we're at the final stages of finishing it. And it's been a labor of love to put all of this medical research out there into practical use for people that have scoliosis. And I want to share just a heart piece of my heart here on why I do what I do. And I'm going to try not to get choked up on this. Years ago, the Lord heavily laid it on my heart one day when I was really struggling with a particular client. And I saw suicide attempts, and I saw extreme psychological distress that people with scoliosis struggle with. And I didn't struggle with those, and I don't struggle with those. But I was shocked, and I was so deeply distraught when I saw these things happen. And I was like, how did we get here, Lord? And I would pray, and I just would put all of these hurts and emotions before the Lord. And years ago, the Lord heavily laid it on my heart that people in the scoliosis community worldwide are orphans. They don't have a place to go. They don't have anyone to guide them. They don't receive love. They don't feel like they have a home. They don't have a home in a doctor's office. They don't have a home in a movement practitioner's office. They don't have a home in a massage therapist's office. And if they can't find a home, that means that they're an orphan. I have been on massage tables before, and they just hurt me. I have been in movement practitioners' clinics, and they don't know what to do with me. And I had to figure this out so I was cared for. And I'm like, good golly, if this is me, Lord, there's millions of people, millions and millions of people. I mean, I just shared with you guys the research about the population of how many people with scoliosis there are around the world. There are millions of people with scoliosis around the world that don't have a home. And that means that they're scoli orphans. So I sat with this, and the Lord put on my heart some scriptures. And I sat with his word for a long time. pondering it in my heart, and I allowed scripture to drive me forward on the action that needed to happen from that. And the Bible contains numerous scriptures addressing orphans, often referred to as the fatherless. The Bible portrays God as a protector and a father to the fatherless, emphasizing a deep care for orphans. God himself steps in as a father and defender for those without parents. Psalm 68:5 says, God is a father to the fatherless. Exodus 22 through 23, God promises to hear the cry of the orphan. And the Old Testament emphasizes protecting the fatherless with severe warnings against their oppression, which I found interesting when I have seen harm that has been done to so many people in the scoliosis community. I just sit and observe, and I'm just like, wow, I wonder what the Lord has to say about that. I wonder what the Lord thinks about what these atrocities that are being done. John 14:8 says, Jesus says to his disciples, I will not leave you as orphans. I will come to you. Psalm 82:3 says, believers are explicitly tasked to defend the weak and the fatherless. That's one of the reasons that I have a brick and mortar studio for Spiral Spine Pilates, because I'm going to tell you a secret, which no longer is a secret since now it'll be in a podcast. I have thought of Spiral Spine Pilates as an orphanage for a really long time. I feel like it's a place where people who don't receive care and don't have guidance and feel like they're orphans can come to receive care. James 1:27 defines true religion as caring for orphans and widows. And I consider my working with the scoliosis community as a ministry. Isaiah 1:17 commands followers to defend the orphan. Deuteronomy 10:18 states that God defends the fatherless and loves them. So my friends, if you are feeling uncared for, I would encourage you to find the scriptures that I read, and I want you to play them on a Bible app. And on days where you feel all alone, I want you to play them because God loves you and he sees you. There's a song that is called Death Was Arrested by North Point Worship and North Point Inside Out. And the lyrics, I love this song. My hands are raised whenever it's played in my church. The lyrics say, ash was redeemed, only beauty remains. My orphan heart was given a name. My morning grew quiet, my feet rose to dance. And later it says, released from my chains, I'm a prisoner no more. It focuses on the transition from hopelessness to new life and freedom through Jesus. My friends, you are so deeply loved by God. Even if you feel unseen, God sees you. He created you. He called you good. He loves you. If you feel all alone in your walk and you don't know who to talk to, first off, you can always talk to the Lord. Just talk. He hears. Even if you haven't learned to listen and hear his voice yet, he hears you. Second off, if you feel alone and you don't feel like you have guidance in the scoliosis community, you feel confused, you feel hurt, and you feel not seen, you can always contact Spiral Spine. Check out spiralspine.com. You can email us. You can call us. You can contact us through Instagram. We get contacts from people all over the world on a daily basis. They are all orphans. They are all scared. They all feel alone. They feel hurt and they feel directionless. Everyone at Spiral Spine would love to walk along this journey with you, my friends. So I just want you to take a deep breath and I want you to take the next best step. I want you to decipher if what you've been told is a lie or the truth, because that's going to help determine the next best step for you, my friends. You are so deeply loved by the Lord, and you can always reach out to Spiral Spine for help. My love to you, blessings to you, my friends. Until next time. Bye. Thank you for joining me on What Helps Us Heal. I hope today's conversation leaves you inspired to listen to your body, honor your journey, and take the next best step. To continue your path, connect with Spiral Spine at spiralspine.com or on Instagram at SPIRALSPINE. Be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Until next time, keep moving, stay curious, and embrace the journey.